For any man who has been stuck in the habit of releasing for many years, retention will become a turning point in your life. You are freeing yourself of one of your body's largest energetic burdens. As lust is one of man's strongest impulses, chastity is one of his greatest transmutations of such an impulse. Nothing will shape a man's future more than when he decides to reallocate his sexual energy. Your choice to be chaste or desirous is very much choosing two different paths to take in life. I would like to share my own personal thoughts about retaining. I have been doing it for long enough now that I don't really think about it in the same mystical way I used to. Getting into a bath feels great at first, but when you get used to it, you don't feel such a buzz from the warmth. It takes getting out of the bath to realize how much you are acclimatized. So I don't know if that has any particular relation here, but yes, I feel perhaps that I've spent a long time in the bath now, and I'm getting used to it. The big shocks or revelations that I may have had when starting are not occurring, at least not in such a strong way as before. Every day of no release has become normal now. Just like working in the same job for many years, you become comfortable. And all the positives and negatives that others take notice of about the workplace are so common and familiar to you that they go by unnoticed. In contrast, however, you start to develop some deeper intuitions about the practice and about life. Though my day-to-day is quite predictable and regulated, if I look at my trajectory since starting some 7 years ago, I can see that I have undergone many major life changes. A marriage, new living arrangements, new job. I quit my old hobby, which I had spent almost 20 years of life on. Many things opened up to me, many new opportunities. My social group dwindled down, perhaps by my own choosing, but the few social relations I keep are all very good ones. I don't wake up every day and feel like Superman, but I don't wake up with intense physiological tiredness like I used to the day after sexual activity. I feel I both have more vitality inside of me, but have also gotten used to having more vitality inside of me. So there is no wow factor as there was when starting. It is just a constant presence, and I think that presence is easier to notice when I look at my work output. I am working for longer hours with less fatigue, and feeling more interested in my work and just life in general as compared to the days I was releasing. And this is perhaps the most important point. Your output when retaining increases not just in quantity of work, but quality of content. That is because with more conserved energy comes more brain material to invest in the work you are doing. I have more physical and mental resources to put into my work than before. I started reading often in 2018, about the same time I started SR long term. I would often take a book to the park and sit down and read for an hour or so before work or on a free day. It got me out of the house and, more importantly, started to take my mind into different mental spaces. It got my mind away from thoughts of sex. I found subjects that were becoming more engaging and more exciting to ponder than sexual thoughts. From this habit, I think it started to loosen the clasp that sex and lust had over my mind. After a long period of input from reading, I started to desire to output my own thoughts and feelings. I think this is what led me to starting a YouTube channel. I went out, bought a high-end microphone with no idea what I was going to talk about, but the feeling to express myself came from retaining and reading books. As I was retaining for longer periods, my mind started functioning better. I was coming up with more ideas, thoughts and plans without too much conscious effort. This is in stark contrast to how my mind functioned when releasing all the time. When releasing, I was very much stuck in the day-to-day drudgery of things, without much thought outside of the current moment. My musical inspiration was diminishing. I had been feeling low on creativity for a few years at that point, and was becoming increasingly dissatisfied with the slow progress of my life. Nothing was turning out how I had planned it in my head some years before. When you are releasing and working full-time, it is very hard to muster up any energy outside of those two activities. Sexual activity and a full-time job just drain so much energy from you that there is almost none left over for anything else. Once a long streak on semen retention was maintained, energy started to return to me. It manifested in often surprising ways, and I felt the daily happenings and interactions of life begin to shift. My relations with people improved. Though with those I didn't like, I could no longer physically stand to be around them. I left my social group at the time in exchange for pursuing new hobbies and finding a partner. I keep a couple of close friends, but invested much more time into personal activities. From this, as you know, the YouTube channel appeared and I started writing books. I changed jobs and all sorts of improvements happened, many of which I have discussed at length on the channel. My life situation now is on a much better trajectory, at least I feel, than 7 years ago when stuck in a job I hated, working 40 hours a week with no time or energy to spend on my interests. Conserving all your sexual energy most definitely serves to replenish your body with a fresh source of energy that just makes all parts of your biology function at a higher level. In particular, your brain becomes more powerful, and with that energy, you pick up on more stimuli and make use of it in your own life. I think your visions for the future become brighter and stronger. Your will becomes stronger. You are literally wielding more force from your organism, and thus your organism is having more influence over its environment, over the world. As a result of this, you can work harder and to a higher level. Your quality gets recognized in due course, and as a natural result, you start to open new doors and receive new opportunities in life. It is almost like an angel is helping you, or perhaps it's God, the Creator himself, which I think is not so far-fetched, even for the non-religious, as you are literally keeping more of the Creator inside of you, and thus outputting more of the Creator's creation, if that makes sense. Whatever it is you were meant to do on earth, that knowledge will become all the more clear to you when living a chaste life. A mind that is not locked into the carnal plane develops the higher senses, higher modes of thought that bring him into higher realms of living. Your energy is highly valued by the universe when it is not being spent through carnal channels. And as a result, the universe calls on you in some way. Your role on earth becomes known to you. You will likely come across bigger opportunities simply because you now have more energy to bring to the table. As Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. I think the power you are conserving is calling forth your mission in life. With long streaks on retention and much conserved sexual energy, you are now intuitive enough to follow the signs that are guiding you towards this ultimate goal or work for your life. Many say that we are here on earth to learn or to evolve in some way. Though you aren't given the opportunity to progress when you are willingly violating nature through wasting your sexual energy. When conserving it, opportunities will become available to you, perhaps opportunities you could have never fathomed coming your way. You start attracting more value simply because you have manifested this value in yourself. The same way a man born highly attractive attracts many of the opposite sex into his life without much effort, the retainer too, with his abundance of conserved energy, attracts many entities, people and possibilities into his own life, simply as a result of what he has become. The halo effect is very well established, though I think it extends beyond just attractive features. Energy carries with it a similar value. Your electrical charge becomes stronger. A 40-watt light doesn't light up the room the same way a 100-watt light does. The 100-watt light globe fills more space with more energy and thus has more influence over its surroundings. Every release of your sexual energy is weakening this charge, dimming your light, and taking away your life. There's a treasure chest of good fortune and opportunity waiting for the man who decides to retain his seed. And his seed is the elixir of his life, and thus by the very act of its conservation, he accumulates more life than the next man. Hold on to your seed, and things will get better. Your physical will improve, your mind will sharpen, and your feelings will transform. You will see life through a new lens, sense subtleties you have never sensed, and over time you will become a powerful energy. It will give you the power to make your mark on life, and make life all the more worth living. Good luck.